Hi guys, I'm back. I told you I would be back. The reasons why I was gone was because of what I'm discussing in this video, so don't hold me to it too much. Just be glad I'm here. If the audio is terrible, it's because my mic broke. And I'm still trying to film regardless because no matter what, post it, put it out. But don't worry, a mic will be coming soon. It is just cars in the background. Anyways, let's get into it. My notes over here. If you see me looking at them, leave me alone. Today we're gonna be talking about film school. I recently graduated from film school. I'm done. I'm unemployed, but it's okay. Basically, I'm gonna be helping you guys figure out if it's really your vibe, if you should go. I may say a couple of things that people may have said before, may have never said before. I don't know. I'm just trying to see what floats your boat, try to help y'all out, because honestly there were a couple of things that I loved about film school and a lot that I did not like about film school and I wish I never had to deal with. So yeah, listen or don't. I'm trying to help y'all. Let me just start by saying that film school is not inherently bad. It's just not automatically good either. And if you are only half sure, like if you're just trying to see if maybe you're a filmmaker, maybe you're good at film, I'd say let me save you the check. Because honestly, I believe that film school is for people who are already in motion. So I don't mean just taking film classes.
I do not mean I mean if you're a film major going to majorly film classes and stuff like that in film school. Please note I'm saying film school, not just if you want to take a random film studies classes or film camera class because you have a camera at home and all that.
In my opinion, film school is best for the people who already have a sense of what they're good at or are at least socially comfortable enough to figure it out through collaboration. I am the socially comfortable part. Sometimes I have no idea what I'm doing, and that's completely okay because I at least know people who do. So, in my opinion, you need one of two things to thrive in film school. You need to either have a creative foundation where you are good at something technical or social confidence. I specialize and am best in directing, producing, writing. Yes, those are technical, but they're not as technical and they require more social confidence than technical creative foundation, which is why I thrive in that. And people know that they could come to me if they want organization stuff done, but don't you dare come to me if you're asking me stuff about a camera because I will never, ever answer you correctly. I'll look at you blank. Exactly. Because honestly, if you're not the most technical person and you're not the most talkative, it's really easy to get lost in the cracks. I also think it's really important to note that, I feel like this sounds so Gen Z of me, but we live in a time where you could teach yourself film. You can teach yourself film. I'm not talking about AI stuff. Damn it, if that's your vibe. I'm talking about how there are so many platforms and there are so many programs where you can teach yourself film. There's YouTube University. You can literally Google your way into a portfolio if you're delusional enough. You can DM working directors. I promise you can DM working directors. Social confidence. I specialize and am best in directing, producing, writing. Yes, those are technical, but they're not as technical and they require more social confidence than technical creative foundation, which is why I thrive in that. And people know that they could come to me if they want organization stuff done, but don't you dare come to me if you're asking me stuff about a camera because I will never, ever answer you correctly. I'll look at you blank. Exactly. Because honestly, if you're not the most technical person and you're not the most talkative, it's really easy to get lost in the cracks. I also think it's really important to note that, I feel like this sounds so Gen Z of me, but we live in a time where you could teach yourself film. You can teach yourself film. I'm not talking about AI stuff. Damn it, if that's your vibe. I'm talking about how there are so many platforms and there are so many programs where you can teach yourself film. There's YouTube University. You can literally Google your way into a portfolio if you're delusional enough. You can DM working directors. I promise you can DM working directors.
So many people think you can't do it, so no one ever does, and then when people actually do, they get good results. I promise you can DM these people. Hey, not just directors, producers, location scouts, what have you, sound crew. People on sound love to talk about their jobs because for some reason people act like sound is so disposable as a concept in film. I promise you could talk to sound people and people on set. Just go on IMDb, hit the credits of your favorite movies, find those people, and go cold call them or cold DM them. Don't call them. But
you guys get the vibe I'm talking about. You can rent equipment, you can build a set, and you can learn by doing. You can teach yourself about film. Even recruiters in the industry, I have friends that are recruiters, I've spoken to recruiters, and I've just spoken in different organizations. I've applied to film jobs. Multiple people have told me to put my degree at the very bottom of my resume. Literally, I've spoken to recruiters as of this month. They've all said, congratulations, you graduated. Put that degree at the bottom. Okay, cool, cute. if not at all, because some have straight up also told me just don't put it at all. Like, there are so many people getting employed without having a degree. Your degree right now is irrelevant. So consider that. You may be going low-key into an industry where people will actually tell you your degree meant nothing. Not because like, oh no, you're still not qualified enough, but because it literally means nothing. But I mean, I don't personally believe that makes film school worthless, but it does mean the industry is changing faster than a syllabus can keep up with. So please keep that in mind. Ask yourself, do I want a degree or do I want momentum? Because sometimes those are not mutually exclusive. Another thing that I think is really important, and I really got the best of both worlds of, that was such a loud truck. It's really not that serious. Girl, that's a Chrysler van. Please act like you've been somewhere before. This is something that's really, really important to me in figuring out how this works for you, because it has to do with balancing two things at once, which I was doing majority of my time in film school. You need to think about three things when you are really thinking about balancing: time, tuition, and admin. You gotta focus on those three. The admin at my school sucked. I'd call them out by name if I could, but literally
A huge part of my admin was that there was no one person I could talk to. There was no one advisor I had at some point during the semesters that I was there. They were like, oh yeah, we got rid of the program that gives you advisors, personal advisors. So you're just meeting with a new person every day. Anyways, y'all don't want to get me started. Y'all really don't want to get me started. I know a lot of you guys like it when I'm being shady, but like right now, let's not go there. It's really early in the morning.
Time number one. You need to consider time in deciding whether you want to go to film school or you want to do this by yourself. Not by yourself, but by yourself. Because you could be working on sets, you could be interning, you could be building your reel. I literally never learned how to build a reel in film school. If I didn't know people who knew people, I'd be out here. But instead, you might be in class. I've literally had to turn down reel creator invites and film events because I had midterms. Do you know how crazy it is to, because of things you are balancing outside of school, to be able to pay for school, like me doing UGC and creator work? With that in mind, I got the opportunity to go to film premieres and meet with certain organizations, and I literally had to turn down a personal invite to like Sony or to go see a Marvel movie for the first premiere because I had finals. Do you know how angry I was when I was like, oh my gosh, I have a short film due. I got invited to a creator event, but like I also have like chemistry assignments too. Girl, it's never that serious. I also have chemistry assignments due, all due within like the same weekend or all happening within like the same like due date. And I have to say no to the creator event because of it. I have to literally say no to possible money because I need to go to classes that require money. Okay. Sometimes that's just a reality. Sometimes you gotta miss one thing to make sure you don't fail out of the other. I don't know. Also, tuition wise, number two, most production programs cost at least $3,000 a semester. You got that kind of money? Most people don't. And honestly, you know what you can do if you did have that money? You could rent a location. You could pay a crew. You could go buy camera equipment and teach yourself. Or just look for cheaper programs to teach you how to use this equipment that you could buy yourself with this money that you're spending going to school. You could build a film fund, which also my school never taught us how to do.
We just had to figure it out. Thank goodness I know how to market myself, but good gracious, they never taught us that.
That's all the things you could do with that tuition cost. So consider, do you want to pay that tuition cost when you could be using this money for something else? And three, admin, you're gonna run into delays, you're gonna run into dumb people, you're gonna run into lost paperwork, you're gonna run into some people making you an out-of-state student when you've actually been in-state for 3 years and making you pay $20,000 instead of $3,000.
You're gonna have to deal with professors who haven't worked in film in a decade and for some reason have some sort of unadulterated, like, obsession with Woody Allen. You're gonna have to deal with old, in my case, white men who think they know any and everything and love to criticize your work, which is based on the expressions of the way you feel as a black woman. With professors who want to show you their work and their work's garbage, but they're grading you, and they make it so you either pass or fail to continue in this degree. That's your reality.
Bureaucracy does not magically disappear because it's an arts program. I'm gonna tell y'all that straight on. So really ask yourself, is the structure giving me opportunity or just obligation? Now, I'm not gonna act and lie as if I didn't gain anything from being in film school. I've built a reputation in the areas I'm strong in. What? I've built a reputation in the areas I'm strongest in, which I've mentioned before: producing, writing, consulting, assistant directing. I've met people on set that I trust. I have built such a pretty network worth of people on Notion. Guys, I talk to people. That's why. That's going back to the social confidence of the thing. I found opportunities that weren't even on my syllabus because I talk to people. There are some professors that are awful, but there are some professors that actually are known as amazing people, and alumni who are doing amazing things in film love to come back just to talk to their classes because they're like, you were such a good professor for me, let me help teach your students now. And I've created such good networking opportunities from just knowing those people and knowing how to talk to them. But on the other hand, like, I'm not a cinematographer. I'm not a film bro with every Scorsese line memorized. I don't really mess with Woody Allen like that as a filmmaker and as a person.
No matter what film professors are talking about, because for some reason they're all up that crevice, boy.
But at the end of the day, what I gained came from the fact that I am curious, I'm sociable, and I'm delusional enough to direct films that I thought of when I was asleep in the shower. And that version of me benefited from school. I chose how I showed up there. Film school didn't make me like that. It may have accentuated some parts of me because now I had opportunity, but I was that person before. I was delusional before, y'all know that. So honestly, here's my advice if you're still deciding, if you got nothing from what I was just yapping about. Figure out what you actually want to learn. If it's theory, could you learn it from YouTube, masterclass, or local community center in New York? There are so many opportunities for you to understand how film works. If it's production, can you borrow or rent gear? Can you practice by helping other people on set? Can you go to a Facebook community and sign up to help on a production and learn from that? Could you save your money coming from tuition and use it to buy better programs or stuff like that? Personally, I did just graduate from my four-year university, four-year film school program. But there was a time where, because of admin, I had to take a year-long break. I was supposed to graduate early, but I graduated in 4 years like I was supposed to. Bummer summer. Basically, during that year I took off, I was still learning because I joined an NYU certificate program where I learned about film, TV, and business of the entertainment industry. And honestly, I paid $1,000 for that program and finished it in 3 months. My point is that that was an $1,000 program that I finished in 3 months because it was asynchronous. And then I went right back to my 4-year program. I found that a lot of the things I was now having to learn again in my film 4-year program, I learned during those 3 months in that other certificate program. Sometimes the shorter and cheaper method can work just as well as if you were to go to a 4-year program. So honestly, consider it. Are you the kind of person who learns best in a class or on the job? One of my biggest things about my film school was that a lot of the times where I learned best, even if I'm not an expert behind the camera, the time where I learned the most in class had to do with when we were doing workshops, which meant we were behind the camera for a majority of the class time. That was helpful for me. Sitting down and watching you yap in a lecture? No, keep it. That literally might be a reality if you go to film school. They might do like 90% lectures and like 10% actual workshops. And low-key, here's the real test. Because I've been yapping, but here's the real test. Do the alumni from that school still talk about it? Check to see if the alumni from your school still mess with it, or did they just go there, get the degree, and then bounce? Because sometimes that's the case, and then you got to decide whether you want to do the same. At the end of the day, film school is a resource, not a requirement. It can give you a head start, but it won't give you direction. So if you are naturally curious, you will always find ways to learn. If you are driven, you'll build your own path. If you're both, you might not need that brick and mortar at all. Maybe you'll need an online program. Maybe you just need experience on the job. Maybe you just need to be delusional enough to be able to say, hey, I've never done any of this before, but give me a shot. How bad could I be? You know how many people get opportunities from just saying, how bad could I be in an interview? And now they're on red carpets? I went, I learned, I grew, but I honestly could say I learned more from producing my own films and making UGC to fund them than I ever did in a lecture. So whatever you do, don't get stuck thinking school is the only way in. The door is wide open. You just have to walk through it on purpose. If you're thinking about going to film school, or you left, or you're building something all on your own, let me know. I want to hear about you. I'm nosy. And then let's talk about the creative paths that no one tells you about. I really hope this was helpful and not just me yapping. I promise I'm gonna give like actually good. Well, I think this was actually good. I feel like I did good in explaining this to you guys. I feel like we did good. If you want more videos like this about like indie film, should you go to film school, things that I didn't learn at film school but I still know how to do because I know people who know people. If you want advice on that, if you want advice on UGC and how I use that to fund a lot of stuff, including my first film, or just creative career stuff in general, let me know. Maybe subscribe. I get really nasty sometimes and really petty. Sometimes you guys really like that, bro. I can't believe that like I didn't post in a while and people were like, when are you coming back? Because I miss how nasty you were. I was like, whole time I'm trying to be nicer. Anyways, we're trying to build something here without the debt. Because, debt. I didn't even talk about loans, guys.
Oh my gosh, don't go to film school. You're gonna have so many terrible loans. Good grief.
Bye.